Hi, my name is Rebecca Victoria and welcome back to my studio. I am doing a 4-part video series right now on the intersection of motherhood and being an artist. This is video number 2 and I would encourage you to go back and check out number 1 if you haven't yet. And today I really wanted to talk about honoring the seasons in motherhood, in life, and in your art career at the same time, and how these can balance each other out and become a beautiful little woven tapestry together. There are seasons in nature, there are seasons in life, there are seasons with your kids that keep changing all the time. They are constantly moving and changing, and sometimes while it feels like you're chasing them, other times it really feels like you can slow down and get into a rhythm with them. And nature in particular has rhythms of growth and harvest and rest just like we do, and that is the same with parenting. And I also believe that that is the same with your art career, because just like in nature, our lives and our arts are not meant to stay in the same rhythm, the same pace, and the same theme even throughout the whole year. It's unrealistic to think that it should be in this one constant state all the time. And you're really just setting yourself up for burnout and failure if you don't honor that you need to have quieter times and rest seasons and really discover the beauty of the balance of it all. Realizing that these seasons are in place to help things to percolate and rest. Just like winter is a season for your place to slow down. Nothing grows, nothing blooms here where I live, because it's a quiet time. It's a place where things need to rest and be at static pace, because we have to take the pressure off ourselves and really realize that we cannot do it all the time. That is just a surefire way to burnout. Our society really has this pressure and myth that we place on ourselves to be constantly producing, constantly hustling, and just constantly productive. Even if it's something little like folding the laundry or doing the dishes. You don't always have to be doing something. You can take a minute just to sit down and have a cup of coffee and just let your body decompress a little. Check in with yourself and see how you're actually feeling. See how your body is actually feeling that day, and really respond to that, rather than just being constantly on the hamster wheel and not really honoring what your body might need in that moment in time. And I think motherhood is really difficult with this, because it really is challenging to find times to stop and have a break. But you have to do that for yourself and for your children. You cannot be constantly going, because that is an inevitable way to burn out and hurt yourself and get sick and not be living in the most productive, beautiful, happy way that you should be. Not be living in your happiest light, not be living in your most peaceful state, and not be living in true resonance with who you should be. And motherhood really pulls us into these cycles of challenges. And the one thing that I find with motherhood is that when I am parenting, there are really hard times sometimes. And the thing that really helps me get through is remembering that it won't be forever. Maybe my child is going through a really bad sleep regression, I guess, and bedtimes are awful. They take forever. My child was up really late last night. She is currently in one right now. And it's been about a month of us not being able to get her to sleep. But the thing that gets me through and reminds me that it's okay is that it's not going to be forever. We are not going to be fighting with her just to get in bed forever. And that helps me be strong and not want to be a reacting mother. And it helps me realize that it's okay for her to have feelings. She's a child, and that's okay. And then that also reflects into my art career too, because when my family is having troubles, it also means that I'm physically having troubles, and then sometimes that impacts my art practice. But that's okay, because sometimes you have to balance things out and give a little more to this basket, take a few eggs from this basket and put them in there for that little season of life. But that is not going to be forever. As soon as that basket over here it doesn't need those eggs anymore, you can put them back, and it all balances out in the long run. You can't be giving 100% of yourself to everything all at one time, because that's just unrealistic, and it's not fair to put that pressure on yourself as an artist, as a parent, or as just a human being. Just as in nature, the seasons of parenting and the seasons of art remind us that nothing is forever. It's never going to stay this way. So while that is both a really hard thought, it is also a beautiful thing, and it's something to remember that through the hard times, there will be change and growth. And sometimes through art, we need to go through the messy middle and really get through that really hard part of the artwork to get to the beautiful ending. You can't skip over all the hard bits and just go right to the end, because you're not going to appreciate it in the same way. Those dark things really help you see the light in a brighter, more authentic, intentional, beautiful way. And it's really impossible to not have it all. You need to have the hard times with the good times, and you need to really practice gratitude during all of it. So for me, I really find that practicing gratitude really helps me get through all the seasons of life, and helps me balance that with the seasons of my art career too. And even just the phases of creating the artwork, gratitude is really the one thing that has made a phenomenal difference in my life. I write in my gratitude journal almost every single day, as much as I can. I'm not too hard on myself if I don't write in it, but it really helps me to give myself a little grace and understand that the hard times are transient and they exist for a reason. And that reason is that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Life is fragile. Life is always changing. Life is sometimes moving at a constant pace that you feel like you can't keep up. But tomorrow is not inevitable. Tomorrow it's a gift. It's a thing we earn, and it's something to cherish. It's not something that everybody will be getting. And through loss and heartache, we remember how fragile life is and how these seasons will shift without our control, both in life, in parenting, and in art. For me, that really leaves me with one question, and that is, how do I want to live? Do I want to live where I'm constantly stressing over the burning out nature of parenting, or do I want to live in a way that enjoys the hard times just as much as the good times, because they are what shape us as whole persons and our life as a whole life? And who do I want to be? Who do I want to show my kids that I am? And who do I want to show the world that I am? But most importantly, who do I want to be for myself? What makes me feel true? What makes me feel aligned? What makes me feel the realest version of me? And really try and live in that state all the time, whether it's a hard period of life or not. And just really modeling this authenticity in my art career, but also in my parenting, I think has really helped to almost create it into existence. Almost like acting as if in manifestation. If you're acting that way, it is going to inevitably just feel that way. It's not going to be an act anymore. You're going to be that way because you've given yourself permission to be that way. You've allowed yourself to almost pretend or act that way, and now you know that you can be that way. You've allowed yourself to kind of put yourself in those shoes and walk for a little bit and realize how comfortable they might be, and therefore you realize maybe you can be that way. It doesn't matter. Nobody really cares. It's up to you what you want to do in your life to make it count, what you want to do in your art practice, and how you want to parent. And the intersection of them all with the seasons of nature is really so evident to me. So I really do believe that creativity thrives in these cycles of life. And I do believe that we need those quieter periods, those rest periods, and it helps the inspiration come in different ways. The water doesn't come into the shore of a beach only in a flat line. Sometimes it's waves, sometimes it's huge tide king waves, but it's not always constant. The inspiration is not always constant. And really honoring that in your creative career is a beautiful thing, and really just living within that rather than constantly be resisting it is so helpful. And I think the same as with parenting. Constantly resisting, fighting, or challenging things makes things so much harder. I think it's so much easier to just be like a rock in water and just sit there and allow the waves just to move around you and just really honor the calmness that that brings you and realize that you can tackle anything you need to in life, in art, in everything. And I really just want to reiterate that you just need to choose joy every single day, no matter what season you're in, and choose to be happy with what you have, choose to be appreciative of what you have, and have gratitude for the things you have, because 10 years ago, you were wondering what your future was going to look like, and you maybe never envisioned it to be what it is like today, but you were probably hoping for it to be like this. If you're anything like me, this is so much better than I ever could have wished for, and that makes me so grateful for what I have today, because the version of myself 10 years ago this is beyond my wildest dreams that I could have imagined. So then realizing today that I am living an extraordinary dream life for myself. This is my dream, and the joy for me really comes from not comparing my dream to anybody else's dream, not comparing my parenting to anyone else's, and not comparing my art practice to anybody else's. So for me, if I really stay curious and stay noticing the seasons that I'm in, I think that that's really, really beneficial for me. And I just adjust my expectations accordingly that way. I can expect to have a slower season because now we're coming into September. We're just out of the busy summer season, and I know that things are going to be a really different pace for me. I'm going to be able to be in my studio a little bit more, and my home life is just a little bit different again. So that quieter nature of not always rushing around to get things done over summer and really enjoying the quieter moments of time in my studio, I'm really excited for that, and I really cherish that just as much as I cherish and was excited for summer when it was coming. I'm kind of ready for it to end because I'm pretty exhausted and I'm ready for these quieter months. And it's really helpful for me, helpful for my body, and helpful for my happiness that I really honor and love and protect these seasons, because I know they're not going to be permanent. I know that they're constantly moving and shifting and changing and returning again the next year. And for me, my motherhood journey, my motherhood seasons just enrich my life. They enrich my art practice, and they're not a competition to it whatsoever. They just are reflective of each other. So the main thing I do is just give myself grace and remember that it's okay. And the season that you're in is enough, no matter which one it is. Whether it's the 10-year-ago me season or the now season, it's enough. That is what I have for you today. I hope that you can give yourself a little bit of grace and just really enjoy every day that you get, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. Whether it feels slow or messy or I don't even know, full of joy, it's worthy exactly how it is, and it's enough. It is enough if you say it is enough and you believe it is enough. And I want you to also remember that you really don't have to wait for the perfect time to create art or the perfect balance. You can live fully and you can create right here in this exact moment, just how it is, and be intentional about it. And don't worry about trying to wait for the right time. Just pick this moment as the right time and say it is. If this conversation today resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and please send this to someone else you think it might resonate with. That it would be extremely helpful for me, because that is how I can grow and try and reach new audiences. I do believe that I am meant to be here for a reason, and I hope that you do too. I do believe that you were meant to hear this for a reason, and I hope that it maybe can help you really embrace what you have in your life. I'm so grateful to have had you here in my studio with me today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and maybe you can even find a little space in your day to create something that wasn't in the world this morning. I'm sending you so much love. Bye.